their family members, the others, because they have to put something on the table.
It's true.
For the siblings. So that is one. Another cause has been found to be cultural practices. For example, when a child is married off, as in we say this is our custom, this is our tradition, then that's defilement of a child.
It's true.
And then something else like female genital mutilation and cut. It's also a cause for defilement, because when a girl child has been forced to be circumcised at the age of 10 or 12, after healing they are being told you are a grown-up and you do what grown-ups do, so they are married off. Yes, so as in as much as the female genital mutilation in itself is a violation of the child's right, but also marrying off the child is another practice altogether that will cause this child to be defiled.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
So the causes are varied. Even poverty, to an extent, has been blamed on defilement. When you look, for example, in the informal settlement, mostly in the urban areas, informal settlements, when the family, they don't have any other source of income. Maybe the mother or the father will force their girls to have sexual intercourse with maybe neighbors or somebody else.
Or in people.
Yes. In other words, they are selling their bodies in order to earn a living for the family. So the reasons are varied. Whatever the reason that there is, it's wrong.
It is true.
Yes, because this is a child.
It is a child.
Yes.
No, how do you, once you encounter such situations, how do you get to counsel these children, or how do you tackle these?
Okay, in most cases, defilement is not something that is being spoken out. Because the moment you get to know that your child has been defiled, you'll always try to cover up.
It's true.
Yeah? So nobody will go out there and say that my child has been defiled or something has happened to my child.
Is true.
No. So when this child has been defiled, you are being taken through a process. Because most of the time, and several research will prove this, that the children are being have been defiled by members of their own family. Those people who are known to them, even to their parents, to their guardians. So it will be very hard for this child to come out and say that this person has defiled me or has done something to me, because most of the time they are being threatened. And the shame that comes with it, and the stigma. This child sees that maybe I'm the one who's on the wrong. Why is this happening to me? So when a child has been forced in such a situation, they won't come out.
They don't
outright and say that I've been defiled.
It is true.
But sometimes it depends with the age of the child. As we have said, anybody who is below 10 years, the law views it differently from somebody between the ages of 16 and 17. So if a child, let me say from the cases that we hear or what we see on the news and what we read on social media platforms, that a child has been defiled. If a child who is 2 years old or a 3-year-old child, they can't explain themselves. And they've been defiled, as a parent, what are the steps they're supposed to do? First of all, without any further ado, you go to the police station. Once you reach the police station, there is always, in most police stations, we have a gender desk. At that gender desk, you'll find a police officer who is trained in child protection. Normally, it's known as the Child Protection Unit, which is under the police station. So once you get there, you lodge a complaint. And once you lodge a complaint, you'll be given an OB. That's the occurrence, in the occurrence book. You'll be given an OB number. So from there, you're supposed to take your child to any medical institution that's around, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the child will be examined. But knowing your child as a mother, as a guardian, you know, this child is 3 years old. This can't be happening.
It's
There's bleeding.
Yes. To come there. How do you know now?
You, as a mother, you keep checking your child. When you are bathing your child, when they are playing out, when you are changing the diaper, you check your child.
It is true.
Yes. So when you do that, you'll notice that the child has been defiled. So it's advisable for both cases, whether it's rape or defilement, that this child or this lady or this young man or this man should not take a bath.
Yeah. It should not be tampered with.
No, you shouldn't tamper with evidence.
Yeah.
Because whatever, if the child has been defiled, whatever evidence will be taken for forensic examination, that's the work of the investigation department. So once you wash the child, or even if it's a woman or a man who has been raped, once you wash yourself and you throw away the clothes, you are tampering with evidence.
Yeah, it is true.
Yes. So basically, you are told not to tamper with evidence.
Wow.
So the way the child is, go with the child the way the child is. And the same with the rape cases. And then the clothes should be preserved in such a way that the bag that is holding the evidence also does not contaminate the clothes. Yes. Because when a cloth, maybe for example it has semen, it's placed in a polythene bag.
Okay.
Yeah. The temperature in the polythene bag, yes, will interfere with the whole specimen.
Okay.
You see. So when it's taken to the forensic lab, there is tampering. You won't get the exact
result.
The exact result that you are looking for. So the clothes and everything the child had, or even the person who has been raped, has to be wrapped in a way that it doesn't cause any further damage to the evidence, because that's what will be used in the court as evidence. But in defilement, the child does not need actually to prove that he or she was defiled.
It is true.
Because even the attempted one, the child will say, somebody touched me in an appropriate yes. Somebody touched me in an appropriate way. So what happens in such a case? I don't have to prove myself. I'll just say, so and so did this to me. You see. So the child doesn't have to prove. But in some cases, the child will be called to be a witness.
It is true.
Yeah? To state really what happened. But this is normally done behind the cameras. The child is never exposed. Okay. In an open court, you will never find a child of defilement being exposed to face their perpetrators or whoever defiled them. So it's always done behind the cameras. Okay. With the consent of the court, and there's a whole procedure that is laid down on the way it's done.
Wow.
Yes.
Beautiful explaining there. Yeah. Now, I would like to know about that, the raped one now. There are these girls who are very shy, or the boys, they are very shy after they are raped. How do you bring them along? Now, how do you bring them along so that they may pour out the information? Because they are shy. Okay, they know already what has happened. They have an idea, unlike the defiled ones. How do you bring them along?
In most cases, sexual offenses, this is a crime. So whether they come out and talk about it or not, it's up to the parent or the guardian to keep checking on their children.
It is true.
Yeah. So whether we are talking about rape now. So if somebody has been raped and they're not coming out to speak out, then they'll have to go through that psychological trauma. You see, the stigma part of it, will lead somebody even to commit suicide. We've seen those people who have been raped, and maybe it has been going on over a period of time, and they can't really explain because this person is known to them. And maybe it's somebody who is helping the family out in various ways. Maybe it's an uncle, maybe a grandfather, a mother, something like that, you see. So when it reaches to somebody that you trust and they have taken advantage of you sexually, it won't be easy. So with time, you'll see the signs of this person. Mostly in children, you'll find there's withdrawal. They keep to themselves. They don't want to play with others. And when they talk, when you listen to what they're saying, they'll say something that will make you wonder why they're saying so. Because if it has been going on for some time, then they'll find a way to express it, whether consciously or unconsciously. So they might be playing, and then maybe something just comes out. You watch, like right now, there are so many soap operas on television. And the kids are there watching, and then maybe you just notice something. Uncle alinifanyia hivyo.
It is true.
You pay attention, because you never knew something like that had happened. But now that child is coming out. So when that child says something like that, you pick it up. And then when you're working with children, you pay attention. Even teachers will tell you this.
It is true.
Children, you'll ask them to draw something. This called in child therapy. We use like drawing to do counseling in children. Tell me what happens at home. So you'll take the pictures or the drawings, and as a grown-up, you are able to tell. There's something wrong here, because this drawing should not be like this. I asked them to do one thing. So there are many ways as a guardian you should be paying attention to the spoken word by the children, to what they are not saying. Yes. And even when they are playing with others, pay attention. What are they talking about? What games are they playing?
It is true.
Because they try to mimic what the perpetrator has been doing to them. Yes. So it varies also. The children will have so many ways to exhibit it, to show you or to exhibit whatever is happening behind the scenes. But in rape, because these are an adult and they know that they have been raped,
it is true.
So if they keep quiet, it's a choice. It's a choice that they are making, that so and so has done this to me, but I'm keeping quiet. It's a choice that person is making. So the same, you see the same signs and symptoms. They'll withdraw. They'll do things that you didn't imagine them doing. And suicidal thoughts. They keep on talking about death and taking their own lives. So all around you and all around the family, pay attention. Because we always have these, let me say, red flags, but we normally choose to ignore.
It is true.
Yes, but they're always there. So as a parent, as a guardian, just be on the watch out and pay attention to what is happening around you and your family.
And take care of the kids.
Yes.
No, there is this child now already, we've taken the forensics, we've already taken the results, and they've come out positively. Now we've already reported. How do you deal with them now, the victims?
Most of the time, like in the urban setting, it's easy, because you are being told as a parent to get the child away from that environment. So it's a little bit tricky when it's the parent who is doing this to the child.
Very tricky.
And it's even more tricky when either the sibling, the brother, the sister.
It's true.
So when it's within the family, to handle it will be a little bit tricky, because most family will have to find a way to cover up everything.
Yes.
They'll even go to the police station and say, this case we can settle it out of court, we can do ABCD.
It's true.
That's within the family. But if it's a neighbor, a relative, or a friend in an urban center, remove the child from that environment.
Okay.
Give the child another environment. Right?
Yeah.
And also, we encourage counseling. We have so many centers that you can take your child to. And in that process, allow the child to express themselves.
Okay.
And give them that time that they need. Just like any one of us, when you've suffered some kind of trauma, give everybody time. Let them at their own time. They'll speak about it. Right? But while the law takes on its own course, you as a parent, you must be very close to your child, and as much as possible, protect the child.
Wow.
Yes, in everything, know where your child is, and try to take those measures. Now that the child has been defiled, you take those measures and you're like, I won't like this to be repeated. So just be vigilant.
Okay.
Yes, and support the child as much as possible. Yeah.
Is there any other method maybe to counsel the children rather than removing them from the environment and taking them to counseling?
There are other ways, because like a parent maybe might decide this child maybe I've taken them out, I've taken them back where maybe they are not known. Also maybe taking them to a boarding school or something like that. And still it's a new environment. Let them learn something new. Right? And also as a parent, you should also talk to your children about these offenses, sexual offenses.
That's true.
Yes, we have to be that bridge where our children are not afraid to talk to us about any issue. They should become, when they come to you and they tell you something, take it, I mean, in as much as it will shock you at the first instance, but then later you compose yourself and you guide the child appropriately. Yes.
Now, Teacher Rose, I want to ask you this. It is very hard. For example, in the life that you are living right now, it's a hard life. You find that many parents are leaving their children at kindergartens, baby cares, such things, and maybe those environments is where the children are being defiled. No, you don't have the energy, or maybe you don't have the finances to remove those kids from there. What would you advise?
Every institution, that's whether it's a kindergarten, a daycare, whatever you call it, so long as you leave your child under the care of somebody else, these institutions have guidelines. Okay. They have policies which must be adhered to at all times. Okay. So as an owner of a daycare, I have to know my caregivers. Okay. Who are they? Do they have criminal records? You know those checks that we do, like if you are applying for a job, you are asked for all these checks. Okay. Can you imagine taking care of a child and you're leaving the child under the care of somebody you don't know? No. So there is a code of conduct that governs all these institutions. Wow. And that's why before you open a kindergarten or a daycare, there are those licenses and permits that you need. Okay. Right. So these licenses...
Maybe I cut you short.
Yes.
Kindly, we're going to take over from there. We take a very short break. We've seen time, our break time has reached. Yeah. Now, we take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial, please.
Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, Lord, I want to be among the number. Oh, when the saints go marching in.
What's up, guys? This has been Gospel Billboard Show.
So guys, we thank you so much for the love that you've been showing us.
So join us each and every Friday from 9:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. right here on Evenboard TV. I'll be your DJ, the mix champion DJ, the most keep it here, keep it low. I'll see you.
And I'll be your co-host, Mary Minor.
And I'll be your host, Kangwana Oyaro.
Tangu mwishoni mwa mwaka jana, homa ya virusi vya corona yaani COVID-19 imeibuka kuwa tisho kubwa la kiafya. Maambukizi ya homa hii yameenea ulimwenguni kote, wala hakuna aliye salama. Serikali kupitia idara ya afya imeweka mikakati miongoni mwao ikiwa uchunguzi wa homa ya corona miongoni mwa wasafiri katika mipaka yake yote kote nchini.
I'm very happy about the screenings that are going on in Tanzania and Kenya. I think it's very proactive that you're thinking about stopping it at the border so that it does not spread.
Inatisha kufikiri kukohoa tu kidogo kwa mazingira haya unaweza sababisha mlipuko wa homa hii usio na kifani. Ili kuzuia haya, serikali imeweka mikakati tosha kuhakikisha usalama wa Kenya wote.
The facility has all the equipments you need from handling a basic patient up to ICU setting.
Hata hivyo, wewe pia unalo jukumu katika kusaidia kuzuia kuenea kwa maambukizi.
Citizen responsibility is the key to the success of this initiative and these measures. Let's all do what we have to do individually. And this is how we are going to defeat this disease.
It's just our general hygiene, okay? And that now means at workplaces, we should ensure that our work surfaces are clean.
Always ensure that nimefanya proper sanitation ya mikono. Every time na board matatu, lazima ni sanitize mikono.
Sisi kama taifa tumepata kukumbana na changamoto nyingi na kali maishani, na kila wakati tumeibuka washindi. Hii homa ya COVID-19 hata kama inatisha, si tofauti nazo. Komesha corona, zingatia maagizo kutoka Wizara ya Afya. Nawa mikono jinsi inavyostahili.
When the saints go marching in, oh when the saints go marching in, oh Lord I want to be among the number, oh when the saints go marching in.
Welcome one more time to our show. This is a topic talking about children. It's all about defilement. Now we were talking about removing the children from the environment of defilement. She will take us through from there. Welcome very much.
Thank you. As I was saying, a child who has been defiled may find it difficult to express themselves if it's a relative or a family member who is doing this defilement to them. So we said whether it's a peer, a neighbor, or a relative, we can take that child from that environment and place them in a different environment. But then we also have alternative care. The society, maybe now we'll say it's different, but a few years ago, a child was raised by the society. You see, everybody used to take care of their own, right? So this child can be given alternative care, where the child is taken, maybe if it's the father doing this to the child, they may be taken to an aunt, an uncle somewhere, who is trusted enough not to repeat the same that is happening to this child. So within the family, it's a little bit tricky, but we have laws that can take care of that. So we are talking about a child who has been defiled by the father.
Yeah.
The legal process is going on.
Yeah.
They're supposed to come back to this family. So it will be good for this child in as much as we are offering counseling and other services.
Yeah.
We also have to find an environment that is conducive for this child in as much there's that trauma, but to help them cope with the everyday living. They still have to grow. They're still children.
Yeah,
we have to give them that chance.
It is true.
So a trusted relative, alternative care for that child will be appropriate.
Wow.
Yes.
Nice. Beautiful. The explaining is so it's so elaborate, and I just like it. Now, how long do they take to fully recover, and what's the treatment actually?
Okay. Just like any other trauma, we might not put a timeline to a treatment or to recovery because the effects might be lifelong. You see, somebody who has been defiled at the age of 13 and then they reach at the age of 30, they still have the trauma. They still remember the events that took place. So that person, we won't say they are fully recovered, but they're just coping. They have this coping mechanism that they have to learn to accept that this happened, but I have to move on with my own life.
It's true.
You see, now that you're no longer a child, that happened when you were a child. Although it was wrong, but now let's take another step. I am a grown-up. I have to keep on living.
True.
You see, that far that you have come, the effects are still there. But you learn to accept that I have to go on with my life. So we can't put a timeline that it will take 6 months or 2 years because some children recover so fast. They recover very fast. And when they go back to, let me say, normal in quotes, normal life, you won't see them showing those signs.
It is true.
You see. So the timeline depends with the child, the environment, and the nature of treatment. You see, what was the nature of treatment of this child? Maybe in a center somewhere to be rehabilitated and be given the right tools, the right skills, so that they can cope with their lives on a daily basis. Yes.
Wow, beautiful. Is defilement only for girls, like many people put it?
No, just the same as rape. Defilement is not only for girls. It's either gender. Boys are defiled. Boys, men are raped. So it's not only women or girls. Even boys are defiled. And we normally term it sodomy, right? So having indecent acts with a boy who is under the age of 18, a male child under the age of 18, that's defilement. It's the same.
True.
A child is a child, whether a boy or a girl. Yes.
Now, how do you how do you handle the defilement of a girl?
Defilement in a girl and a boy, the same.
The same.
We've said that as a parent, you keep on checking on your children. You don't assume this is a boy child. They're okay. Yeah. The amount or the effort you spend to take care of your girl should be the amount of time that you take care to take over that boy. So whether it's a boy or girl, it's treated the same.
It is the same.
Yes. So there is no that line that say definitively this is what should be done for a boy. This is for a no. Defilement is defilement. Yes.
Just the same, and it's handled the same way.
Yes.
Are there laws? Are there laws that defend the children?
We have the laws. We know the Constitution of Kenya is the supreme law of the land. In the Constitution, we have the rights and freedoms of everybody. So those rights, just as guaranteed for the adults. They are also guaranteed for the children. But there are specific rights and freedom for children, like the rights to parental care. That is for the children. It's in the Constitution of Kenya. So it's up to you to know what are the laws of the land telling me about my children. We also have the Children's Act. It specifically gives directions and guidelines on how children should be handled. The right, their freedom, children within a family, children who are found maybe in an institution, like children homes. There's all that. We have the children courts. All those are in the Children's Act, and they define whatever they are supposed to be doing. We also have the Sexual Offences Act that protects the children and both adults in the land. So all these laws, they're there to protect the children.
It is true.
Whether we know or we don't know, we are always told that ignorance of the law is no defense.
It is true.
So you can't say, I didn't know. You can't say that. If somebody has been arrested, whether a male or female has been arrested defiling a child, the law will apply, whether you know it or not. So it doesn't spare anybody.
It doesn't spare
so
even
under,
those who don't know.
No, it's no defense. It's no defense. If you don't know the law, that's your problem. Because the Constitution is there for everybody. Right? The Children's Act is there to protect the children.
It's true.
In as much as the children themselves won't read it, it's their caregivers, the guardians and their parents to know what the Act stipulates for the protection of their children.
It's true.
The Sexual Offences Act, it spells out the offense and what is supposed to be happening and the definition of everything. So actually it is not for the child. It's for the guardian and the caregivers to know what the law is all about children.
It's true.
So you can't tell anybody, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yes, so it's up to you as a parent, as a guardian, or as a caregiver to find out what the law tells you about child protection and how are you supposed to be with your children and the responsibilities and duties of each and every person about the children.
It is true.
Yes.
And are there any penalties?
There are penalties. So, defilement, as we have said, anybody below the age of 18. So, any child below the age of 10, if they are defiled and the perpetrator is arrested and taken before the court, the penalty is life imprisonment.
Below the age of
10. Life imprisonment. And then from the ages of 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, the law is that this person will get 20 years penalty, whether it's a woman or man. 20 years. Between ages 16 and 18, the penalty it gets interesting.
Very interesting.
Yes. The law states that this will take maybe 15 years.
Okay.
10, between 10 and 15 years. Yes, and also there are fines. So it's up to the court system to decide the penalty. I mean, the fines. Because, I mean, life imprisonment, you are not getting out. Yes. So, given the category, somebody might ask why. Because a child who is 16 years to 18 years, they are a little bit aware of themselves.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes? And the perpetrators are known to them.
Yeah, it's true.
Whether it's a friend, a neighbor, a family, or a stranger.
They notice.
They notice. And also a child of 13 years might be able to tell you that.
It's true.
But a child below 10 years, I mean, it's a little bit difficult unless this is somebody who's really known to them. There is something maybe we should talk about.
Yes, please.
what happens when children defile themselves? A 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. You see, that's still defilement.
Yeah, it is.
So both of them are treated as offenders. So,
oh my God.
who took advantage of the other? So both of them are treated as offenders.
Okay.
So
there's no like saying it's the girl or the boy?
No,
Nothing.
they're the same age. There's nobody who knows better than the other.
It's true.
Yeah. So they're taken as both are offenders.
Both.
Yes. So they'll be treated like that. Both are offenders. So maybe the genesis of what led to the defilement and all that. But we've said defilement, there's no consent.
It is true.
Yes. So it's nothing like nilimuuliza kakubali.
There's no that.
So
long
as
you did the act.
Yes. This is anybody below the age of 18. You shouldn't be engaging in sexual activity. It was forced, whether there is consent or not, is defilement.
Wow.
Yes.
I also find it so bad, so wrong when a person, a real person and a mature person would defile a minor below 10 years, surely.
It happens, and we've seen,
happens.
and we've seen the outcry. The mothers, maybe it's a neighbor. Somebody will use an example like he was drunk, he didn't know what he was doing, he was under the influence of something else.
Yeah.
You see, those are excuses because before you got drunk, you were sober.
You were sober, yes.
Right? So before that, there is that judgment.
Yes.
In as much as alcohol and other substances may impair your judgment to some level, but then that is no excuse. The act has happened, the child has been defiled, the damage has already been done.
Yes.
So what next? We let the law take its own course.
It is true.
Yes.
No. Teacher Rose, thank you for the wise words. I want you to speak to the children out home. I know children are just loitering all over. And upon us parents, we're still working for them, so we can't stay together with them all the time. And no, my kid know these children are very wise.
Yes.
Sometimes they sneak out.
Yeah.
Even if you leave them under someone's care, they do sneak out. I want you to speak to them and tell them on how to guard themselves and to take care of themselves at these weak hours.
Okay. What we see around right now, no parents wants it. We've seen parents say that we want children to go back to school.
It's true.
We want ABCD. But the sole responsibility of parenting is yours.
It's true.
As a parent. You see. So you can't purport to transfer your responsibility as a parent to maybe a teacher or somebody else while you are there. Right? So how would you bring up your child in such a way that they are aware of what is going on around them? Yeah. So most of the time we tell our children, when you see such and such a thing happening and you think that it's indecent, please tell me. You see, you are giving these children knowledge and skills to know when somebody is attempting to defile them, because that's an offense in itself.
It is.
Right? So children might not come outright and tell you, but all the same, they know that whatever is happening is wrong. It's from you as a parent.
There is something I wanted you to clarify for them. Even an attempt is wrong.
Yes.
It's defilement in its own way.
It's attempted defilement.
Do you know, most of them think, especially these kind of grown-up kids, they're like in class 7 and maybe from class
13,
6,
14,
13, 14,
15,
that age.
Yes.
They tend to think they've grown, they've outgrown. So they think they're doing the right thing. Just clarify there for them.
Any indecent attempt. Yes? You touch a child's private parts, that's indecent.
It is.
Behavior. As a grown-up, you know that this is wrong.
It is true.
Right? So once a child gets to know their body, mostly in adolescence, Yeah, they get to know their body. They see changes in their bodies. We have all these feelings and these moods and everything. Hormones are raging all over.
It is true.
But you still instill in them. You tell them you are a child.
They're still children.
You are still a child. So as a parent, is your number one priority to protect your children.
It is true.
Before they step out of their house. You see, whether they're going to meet their friends or your relatives or even neighbors or wherever they are going.
Okay.
You've already given this child that information.
Yes.
We are told the information is power.
It is power.
Whether you are 14-year-old, remember you are still a child. You are 17, you are still a child.
You're still a child.
Yes. When somebody touches you inappropriately,
okay,
that's attempted defilement. Because it makes you uncomfortable. You don't want this, yet somebody is insisting. So, I mean, it might be difficult to prove, but the word of the child, the word alone, can land you in jail. That's what people should know. The word alone. He did this, she did this. Can you prove? I don't need witnesses.
Okay.
Right?
It's true.
My child told me. And if the magistrate or the courts can listen to the child, and that's why we have the children's court.
Yes.
They are never taken to the adult courts.
Okay.
They are taken to the children's court.
Yes.
Yeah? We have children who are criminals. Right? They are tried in children's courts.
It's true.
Right? In as much as they are juvenile, they will be, I mean, they'll be held somewhere until they turn 18.
Okay.
Yeah? So that they can be prosecuted as adults. Okay. But while they're still children, right? They must be given this information. So when we take our children to school, we leave the responsibilities of parenting to the teachers.
Yes.
Right? And we expect the teachers to tell them everything. Right? In as much as they will do. But believe me, they won't say everything.
Not everything.
Yeah? So it's up to us as parents to give these children the information that even if the schools are out, right? We've been in this pandemic for a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
We've had cases of teenage pregnancies.
So many.
There are so many. When you walk around, children have been defiled, right? You see class 7, class 8 children. Yeah, they are pregnant. What do you do? Those are cases of child defilement. But once we empower this child with this information, even if the acts will happen, but the child will know this is wrong. You see? So you've already empowered them to know that this is what should be happening.
Yeah.
And as parents, let's not leave everything to the teachers or to other caregivers. The house helps are the ones who are raising our children. Right? So this nanny, you trust them so much that you believe that they can't defile your child.
True.
They do.
Very true.
Yes. And cases are there. So as we've said, both boys and girls should be given the same protection.
Okay.
So it's a parent's responsibility to take care of their child. It's biblical, it's societal. I mean, it's the law. So whether you are in society, you want to say this is not my responsibility.
It's true.
Whether it's from the school perspective, it's your responsibility. As a parent, we've been told children are gifts from God.
It is true.
When you are given a gift, what do you do with your gift?
You take care of it.
Yes, you take care of the gift.
It is true.
So you don't take your gift and you throw it out there, right? But that's, it happens sometimes. That's a topic for another discussion. Children who are not within a family setup, what happens?
Okay.
Those who are not in a family setup. Maybe they're in an institution somewhere, right? They're in a children's home. We've had cases of defilement in children's home.
It's true.
It's a remand center, a rehabilitation center.
Yes.
Defilement happens. There are laws which are there and guidelines and policies that take care of that. So, but the law is the same.
It is true.
Sexual offenses is the same. The Children's Act is the same. It covers everybody, regardless of where the child is.
It's true.
Whether the child belongs to the street or is in a home setting.
Okay.
So we don't say this child huyu ni wa street, huyu ni chokora. You see, those are the names that we give them. Huyu ni chokora. So when you find a child has been defiled on the street, what is the law? I mean, what is the policy that will guide you as that person or the caregiver or a person of interest to act in the best interest of this child, to take them from where they are to the next level. So we have all these policies there. So every institution, whether it's a family, whether it's a church, a school, we have all these laws. We have all these regulations to take care of our children. So we have no excuse.
Very true.
Yes.
Before we wind up, I've just remembered something. There is this special person, wale watu wako huko kwa barabara, special people, and maybe mentally ill people. Are the charges, the judgment, is it the same with the normal people outside?
You know, a mentally disabled person it will be very difficult to prove that they're being defiled.
Okay.
Right? Because already their judgment has been impaired.
Okay.
You see, they can't tell right and wrong. But it's up to the caregiver to determine whether this child who is mentally sick is being defiled or not. Just the same way you take care of, let me say, normal children.
Yeah.
Also, the disabled ones.
Okay.
Regardless of their disability, treat them the same. And there's no law that says this is for the disabled and this is for the able children. The law is law. So it's just a matter of how or the extent that this child has been defiled.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's just the same. The law is just the same.
It
accommodates
applies
even the disabled.
Yes.
And even the.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to close our show by telling our viewer on how to take care of themselves, and in case of anything, because we feel like at sometimes we don't want to speak out. We feel shy. Tell them this is not a thing to shy off. They should speak out, and in fact they should report these things so that we can stop these matters. They have escalated so much, and especially this time that you're living. Just advise them as you say goodbye to them.
Okay. For the children, I'll say this. Be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Right? As we've said, a child might be defiled by peers, their friends. Know your friends.
Yeah.
But also have those boundaries to know that this is a friend and this one wants to take advantage of me.
It's true.
You see, that definition, when a child understands that these friends, they come in different categories.
It is true.
Just like the same with grown-ups. We say that we have this type of friend. This is a close friend. This is an acquaintance. The same with the children.
Okay.
Make them aware of their surroundings, and also give them the information that they need. Right?
Yeah.
As a parent, give your children that information that this might happen, and also where we are staying also determines the environment. You see, in the rural areas, I mean, everybody knows almost everybody in a village, you see. But in an urban center, it will be very difficult.
It is hard.
You see.
Very hard.
So, I always say this. Nyumba Kumi is a very good initiative to know your neighbor. Just try to know who is your neighbor.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So, you're being told to know Nyumba Kumi, just 10 of your neighbors. The same. You see, these children, when they know their neighbors and you know their your neighbors, you see, even when a case happens, you'll get this is a visitor. This is a visitor. This person does not belong here. You see, and also the cases of relatives, it's different. So allow your children a platform to speak.
It's true.
You see. And also children should be engaged in different activities. Don't just leave your children idle to be, I mean, they're just up and down the streets.
Okay.
That's a child who doesn't have a proper guidance or something to do. Because even if the schools are out, there's something that you can do with your children.
It is true.
You see, give them this, for lack of a better word, timetable. From this time to this time is watching TV. From this time to this time. You know, the day is divided in such a way that they're not all that idle. There is the time to go loitering the streets.
True.
You see, give them those responsibilities, small responsibilities. And for parents and guardians and caregivers, you know, as we've said, we've been given these children as gifts from God.
It's true.
And when we read the Bible, it's clearly states that when God was creating the world, he gave instruction to man and woman to go multiply.
It is true.
You see, children is the future generation.
Yeah.
So if we destroy them now, then we don't have a future.
We don't.
That was not the intention of God. Yeah? It was God's intention, like any other, to be a growing concern. So if God created the male and female, he had a reason. So let us take care of these children, knowing that this is a responsibility that we are given by God.
Very true.
So let's not leave our children out there to the mercy of everybody. Let's take care of them.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Teacher Rose, for having you with us in studio. We are so blessed to have you.
Thank you for having
the
me.
information, and I know so many people have learned through that. Of course, it's a tricky time that you're living in right now.
Is.
A tricky one. And thank you very much. May God continue empowering you. Of course, we're going to escalate the other part next time. We will create time upon that. Now, thank you very much for your viewership. This is Daughters of Favor. My name is Rebecca Angoi. See you next time. Same TV station, same great studio. See you, and God bless your week. Thank you.